Today we are going to be working on finding the surface area of a figure using nets. The cone scale surface area using nets. Now a net is what you see here when we take a three-dimensional shape and we flatten it out, showing all of the different sides. This is a way that, for example, if you wanted to make a box, you would cut it out on the paper like this and then fold it up. Our key terms first is volume, the amount of 1 times 1 times 1 unit cubes that can fit inside an object. This just tells us that this cube is 1 times 1 times 1. So it's one height, one height, one length, and one width. Surface area, the area of all the outside faces of an object combined. Here we have a square pyramid. Our steps are a little bit further down, so I'm going to scroll up a little bit so you can see those. We need to find the area of each face of the object, add them together. So, to find the area of each face of our object, we have to look and see what shapes this square pyramid breaks down into. It's called a square pyramid because the base is square. So we see here that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles and 1 square. I'm going to do the square first because that's easiest. It tells me that this side is 3 because I know it's a square. I don't need to count the other sides, but I can check to see that we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Each side measures 3 units. To find the area of a square or any rectangle, I multiply length times width. So in this case it is 3 times 3 equals 9. And I'm actually going to label this not A, but not B, but A. So this shape here I'm going to call A. So the area of this shape A is 9 units squared. So that is what I needed to do to find the value of this shape, or the area of this shape. However, I now have these triangles, and I'm presuming because they have the same base, that's the shared line with this, or the shared side with this square, that they also have the same height. And it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. They all have the same height. They are the same shape. And knowing that it's a square pyramid, I can also know that because the sides of a square pyramid are equal. Now I'm going to label these B. They're all the same, so I can label them the same way. I just have to remember that I have 4 of these, not just 1. Now the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Now my base is 3. My height is 4 divided by 2. That equals 12 because 3 times 4 is 12 divided by 2. And that equals 6. So it is 6 units squared for 1 of B. Now, I found the area of each face of the object. My next step is to add them together. Now it's important to remember I have not just 1 of B but 4. So before I forget, I'm going to do that first. And there are 2 ways I can figure that out. I know that the area is 6 and there are 4 of them, so I can times it by 4, which gives me 24. I can also repeatedly add. So I have 6 plus 6, that's 2. That gives me 12, plus 6 gives me 18, that is 3. And plus 6, that is 4, and that gives me 24. So the answer is the same. Whichever makes more sense to you is okay to use. Either repeatedly adding the value or multiplying by the number or the quantity of that shape. So I had 4 of those triangles, so I multiplied it by 4, or I added it 4 times. Now I have this value, 9 units. I only have one of A, so I don't need to multiply anything or add anything. All I need to do now is add the 9 and the 24. So 24 plus 9, that gives me 13, carry the 1, 33. So we have 33 units squared. And this is my final answer for the area, the surface area of this shape. We will do one more together, and then the final one you can do on your own. Okay, now we have a rectangular prism. The difference between a pyramid and a prism, for example, is that the pyramid has triangular sides, and it's different on the top and the bottom. A prism is the same at both ends. Now it asks us to find the surface area of the rectangular prism above using the net below. Something that can help us if we're not sure is to label the different sides, and we can do this for each different shape. So this shape has a side of 2, this shape also has a side of 2, as does this one and this one. All of these are the same length. They're 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and you can count that because it gives us that net. You can see it on the grid paper. Now I can do the same thing here. This one is 3, so that side is also 3. And then because it's a rectangle, I know that the two sides are equal. And because it's a prism, I know that on either side of it, so this shape here and this shape here are going to be the same. This shape here and this shape here are going to be the same. And then finally this shape at the top and this shape on the bottom are going to be the same. So when I see this shape here, I know that this one on the other side is going to be the same. And I can count and check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I've labeled almost all of my shapes. The only things that I haven't labeled are these sides and this side. So again, because I know that this shape and this shape are the same, I can tell that this shape here and this shape here are going to be the same because they're the ones that are opposite each other on the prism. And I can check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's true. And then I need to label this one. Now I know this one meets with this one. They share a side, so they're going to be the same length. And I can check by counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the same here, 3 and 3. Okay, so now that I've labeled it, it's even easier now to see that each of these has, there are different amounts of these shapes.